Last night we got some very unfortunate news. You know, I dropped a video the other day giving props to Ryan Garcia because he was making it look like he really wanted this fight with Tank and that it was really going to happen. And a lot of y'all were saying in the comments that y'all don't think it's going to happen and he's going to find some way out of this fight. Well, it looks like y'all were right. Oscar De La Hoya, Ryan Garcia's promoter, came out last night and tweeted, "I have no contract. Deadline for me is Monday or I'm moving on." First of all, I want to touch on this. Why are you negotiating on social media? Why aren't you on the phone? Even people responding to his tweet were saying the same thing. And I believe the reason that he's doing that on social media is to sway the public's perception. You know, everybody's going to blame the PBC. For whatever reason, everybody in the boxing community has this weird hatred towards PBC. The PBC is the only reason big fights don't happen. All this bullshit. So he knows that. So he hopped on Twitter saying that in hopes of making it look like the PBC are the ones stalling the fight by not sending over the contract. The problem with this is his fighter, Ryan Garcia, already came out in an interview earlier this week saying that he saw the contract already and that they agreed to everything.
So is it accurate that on April 15th, you are going to fight Tank Davis? Like, is this 100% a done deal at this point?
At this point, from my knowledge, yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, 100%. I've seen the contract. Everything's been set. I think they're just working on the undercard. And other than that, we both agreed to the fight.
So how is it that your fighter already seen the contract and you haven't? When you're the one negotiating the fight, and for the fighter to see the contract, it has to go through you. How does that happen? Am I tripping? If somebody know more about the boxing business, you know I'm just a fan. If somebody know more in the comments, inform me, please. But to me, that don't make sense. And if there already wasn't some type of agreement in place, why would you give your fighter the green light to announce the fight on April 15th? Both fighters came out and announced the fight was coming. Why would that happen if they didn't come to conclusion and come to terms on a contract? How? This is the same thing Steven Espinosa just said.
No deal would have been announced by the fighters had everyone not have signed off. So the reality is it's a little bit puzzling. It's a little bit mysterious why you would say, sure, Ryan, go ahead and tell everybody you have a deal, and then 2 days later come out and say, well, there's not really a deal.
So this is sad. It's getting old at this point. And to be honest, it's starting to trend towards the Terrence Crawford, Earl Spence thing, where people are starting to get tired of it, and eventually we're not going to care. And for Ryan, I respect Ryan's skills as a fighter, even though I think he's a nut. I respect his skills as a fighter, but it's starting to look like he don't want to be a real fighter. He want to be a social media star. Because if you notice, they just did some YouTube fights this weekend. Some YouTuber fights. The only real boxer tweeting about that shit, breaking it down, commenting on it like it was real fights, was Ryan Garcia. That's what he wants. So if you want that, bro, go be a part of that, bro. But stop wasting our time. Go fight YouTubers if that's what you want to do. But if you're serious about making this Tank fight like it was looking like you was, then get on the phone with Oscar and tell him to cool the fuck out and stop playing games. And let's get this fight made. Well, it's already made. Tell Oscar to stop playing games. But as far as Tank, if this fight falls through and doesn't happen, me personally, I want to see Tank challenge for one of the 140 titles they got over on the Showtime PBC side. You know, Sabril Matias is fighting for the IBF 140 championship soon. And he actually beat one of Tank's teammates, Malik Hawkins, another fighter out of the Upton Boxing Center. He actually beat Malik Hawkins. So Tank could win a championship and avenge Malik Hawkins' loss. That's a good little storyline. And Sabril Matias is kind of being looked at as like this boogeyman in the 140-pound division. Because he's 18-1 with 18 knockouts. And his only loss, he came back and knock that dude out in a rematch. So they kind of looking at him as this boogeyman. Me personally, I got Tank beating him up, stopping him. I don't think he's that good defensively. And the only problem, like with all the rest of these fighters in 135 and 140, the only problem he could give Tank is his size. That's it. The same with the WBA 140 champ, Alberto Puello. He's actually Hector Garcia's teammate. He's trained by Bob Santos as well. But I could see Tank going up, snatching that 140 belt too. Those are two good fights I'd like to see Tank make if this Ryan Garcia fight don't happen. But hopefully it don't get to that point, and hopefully we get to see this fight happen. But that's what I got for y'all. I'm out.